So they call this meeting with all the Obama top people, and no revised PDB has been issued yet. No revised intelligence community assessment has happened yet. The last thing that happened in the intel community was, we're going to tell them that there really was no significant Russian interference, at least insofar as election apparatus goes. And FBI said, we're out. We're going to issue our own. And then Clapper said, all right, well, let's just pause everything. Then everybody gets together. Right after that, before any revised intel happened, before anything happened, they began leaking to the media. WAPO, New York Times, CNN, saying something diametrically opposed, saying, Russia interfered. And that, to you describe that as the smoking gun that shows there had been a decision to shift the entire messaging around this in a way they thought would undermine Trump.
When Megyn Kelly steps into the spotlight, it's not just a debate, it's a demolition. She doesn't throw punches, she levels legacies. And this time, it's Barack Obama under the microscope. Once celebrated as the polished prince of modern politics, his carefully crafted image gets torn apart by Kelly's sharp wit and unapologetic honesty. She doesn't just call out the flaws, she burns down the illusion. This isn't just opinion, it's a surgical takedown with zero hesitation.
How much is enough money, according to the Obamas? 70 million? Because public reports estimate that is their net worth, parlayed on the back of Barack Obama's 14 years of holding political office. He did not spend 50 years in government service. He did a stint in the Illinois State Senate. He did a couple years in the U.S. Senate before he ran for office and won. All right, then he did 2 terms as president. And off of that, he's made himself over $100 million. Almost $100 million, probably over to be.
Barack Obama didn't just enter politics. He was launched like a myth, riding a tidal wave of hope posters and designer optimism. He was hailed as the face of change, yet somehow managed to become a master at maintaining the same old system, only this time, with better lighting and smoother speeches. And as Kelly slices through the illusion, it becomes clear, this wasn't a leader stripped of glamour, it was someone proudly selling style as substance.
But you can't say anything that is in any way critical of a minority racial group, especially blacks in America.
That was what Barack Obama learned very quickly when he ran for office. Remember that in his memoir, he said he just sort of when he went to a campus, he wanted to only hang out with black people. He had to break up with his white girlfriend. And then he really threw his own grandmother, who had actually scrimped and saved to put him in prep school, when he said she was a typical white person who was unduly afraid of black males approaching her. So he didn't want to be known as a multiracial or non-racial person. He really wanted to emphasize only half of his own ancestry. And it was very sad, because when you actually looked at his grandmother and all of that, she was the one person in his life who made sure that he had access to a competitive education.
And then there's the Nobel Peace Prize, awarded to him almost before he found the restroom in the Oval Office. What exactly did he do to earn it? Be charismatic? Tall? Exist? Meanwhile, drone strikes were already prepped and ready to go, dispatched like online orders. And don't worry, each one came wrapped in a polished press release that somehow made targeted killings sound like bold acts of diplomacy.
I'm so glad I didn't have a boy.
Yeah.
Because he would have been a Barack Obama.
Baby Barack, it would have been amazing.
Ooh, no, I would have felt for him.
She just borrowed our boys.
Yes, I got plenty.
Wow.
Did you catch that? She's glad she didn't have a boy, because he would have been a Barack Obama.
Megyn Kelly doesn't just poke fun, she exposes the core. Obama arrived on the scene with a celebrity glow that made it feel like he might perform at the Grammys before fixing the economy. And honestly, that's not far off. He graced red carpets, slow-jammed the news, and soaked in the spotlight while real issues, like poisoned water in Flint or overwhelmed VA hospitals, went ignored. The disconnect wasn't just glaring, it was insulting.
Here she is talking about it. If it were me, I would say something nice about him. I would say, like, he's just so charming. It was meant to be. I knew he could heal the earth in the way he did. There was only one person who could do it, and it was my husband, Barack Obama, whatever. Then she gets on to talking a little bit about him personally, and this is how that sounded.
When a girlfriend comes to visit, it's usually like, you got to stay for 2 days because it's going to take us
so much
2
time to come
days
to
check up. Now, Barack's come in, he's come out, and he's like, y'all still talking? He'll sit down for 5 minutes, be like, how are the...
Let's talk about his speeches, beautiful to listen to, empty when replayed. Obama had a gift for making everything sound profound, even when he was saying nothing at all. You'd swear he was promising miracles, until you realized he was offering everything to everyone without actually committing to anything. It was all performance. Underneath the poetry, evasion. Under the charm, masterful deflection dressed in elegance.
I love how the soundbite begins. Okay, it's not the fear for myself. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. Unbelievable, right? Who talks about themselves that way? Even if you are Michelle Obama, Barack Obama doesn't talk about himself that way. It's just like the hubris. And then this is the part that jumped out to me more than any other. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognized.
Now comes the economic recovery. Wall Street cheered, stocks soared, tech billionaires toasted to the future. But the average American? Still working 2 jobs with no benefits, scraping by while clutching a campaign button and a slogan. Kelly doesn't need special effects to make this sting, she just lays it out. The banks that caused the crash got bailed out. Everyday people got talking points and a glitchy website. And that affordable healthcare reform? It turned out to be a clunky mess with sky-high premiums and disappearing doctors. The sales pitch was sleek. The reality? A busted device with a pretty cover. And overseas, Syria collapsed, Libya burned, and Iraq continued its endless loop, all under a president who talked peace while carrying a hidden playbook of chaos.
Instant affectation, like, oh, my man. And like she doubles down in the following clip. It's just over the top. And here it is, 37.
There hasn't been one moment in our marriage where I thought about quitting my man. And we've had some really hard times, so we have had a lot of fun times, a lot of adventures, and I have become a better person because of the man I'm married to.
Okay, don't make me cry now. Right at the beginning of the show.
Isn't that sweet?
Don't let me.
But hey, the selfies were top tier. Obama put more effort into staying cool than fixing the machinery of government. He was happy to chat with influencers in bathtubs, but veterans couldn't even get a hospital appointment. If charisma paid the bills, America would be debt-free. But sadly, charm doesn't bring down insulin prices or cancel student loans. Kelly cuts through the facade, the one polished with media fawning and empty reassurances. The scandals, IRS targeting, NSA spying, all brushed off with a rehearsed look of surprise, as if these weren't policies approved behind closed doors. And race? He was supposed to unify, not just symbolize unity.
Again, it's like a Michelle Obama situation. We don't care. No one feels sorry for you. Shut up and do your stupid job where you sit in your air-conditioned studio with people running out to powder your face. And I mean, I guess somebody has done that hair. It's unclear, but they'd have to be insisting on it, wouldn't they? In any event, the same outfit every night. We know absolutely no effort is made to look good.
Kelly doesn't just expose contradictions, she shows how they were sold like designer dreams. Climate change warrior? Sure, as he flew from summit to summit on private jets. Man of the people? Meanwhile, he's sipping wine with tech moguls and collecting million-dollar checks for speeches. His post-presidency? Less public servant, more luxury influencer. Netflix deals, mansions, beachfront backdrops, all while the communities he once championed struggle to stay afloat. He played the media like a pro, and they played along, obsessed with his tan suit while ignoring record-breaking prosecutions of whistleblowers. Even his scandals came wrapped in poetry and applause.
everything she says is negative. We've been watching clips from her podcast over the past couple of weeks. Everything she says is negative. I mean, you would never know you are hearing from a woman who is first lady for 8 years, has become probably a billionaire by this point, is out on David Geffen's yacht every other summer, her estate in Martha's Vineyard, her daughters who went to these Tony schools. You would think you were listening to somebody basically like...
Megyn doesn't need to dramatize anything. The facts speak volumes. The transparent president who hid behind executive orders. The hope dealer who left young people disillusioned and buried in debt. The reformer who ended up preserving the very swamp he promised to drain. And through it all, his supporters still treat him like royalty, clinging to his speeches as if they changed the world. But what really changed? Inequality deepened, division exploded, and the world didn't get safer, it just got quieter under his smile. Kelly doesn't flinch while ripping through the myth. She's the scalpel, slicing away the branding to reveal a presidency propped up by optics. Obama didn't lead a revolution. He headlined a long, well-produced series about one. And when it got tough, he faded into vacation mode, leaving the cleanup for someone else.
More fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, the basketball team, the Clippers, thank you, game without her. And then on Tuesday, he was spotted eating out at a fancy dinner in Sherman Oaks with his both daughters, Malia and Sasha, but again, no.
Yet somehow, he still finds the mic to lecture Americans about unity, from his oceanfront perch, guarded by private security and organic hors d'oeuvres. The problem isn't just the mistakes, it's the arrogance. That unwavering belief that wrapping bad policy in big words makes it noble. He could crash a car into a school and spin it as character building. Kelly doesn't need exaggeration, reality did all the work. You could fill a bestseller with just the contradictions, and it'd fly off the shelves. Now, in retirement, he hovers above the mess he helped build, sounding shocked that it's all crumbling. After 8 years of smooth talk, symbolic gestures, and media swooning, what's left is a legacy that proves one thing: polished delivery can't replace real results. Kelly isn't roasting for laughs, she's setting the record straight. Because once the fanfare fades, we're left with what really happened, and it's not exactly the transformation America was promised.
What I think binds it together, all these different strands, a case upholding healthcare, a case declaring same-sex marriage part of our constitutional protections, of mourning. I think what pulls it all together is that no one person did any of that.
So he's sitting around on a June Thursday thinking about himself and his glory.
As this roast hits its final note, like a gavel slamming down, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Behind the glamour, the applause, and the carefully curated cool was a presidency more focused on how it would be remembered than what it actually achieved. And that takedown? Yeah, it's far from finished. Let's not overlook his signature, red carpet approach to crisis. Every scandal, every riot, every national emergency came with a perfectly polished soundbite, words that seemed deep but did nothing. The pace of response was so slow and vague, you'd swear he was waiting on a Netflix scriptwriter to give it one more rewrite. Meanwhile, real people facing real problems were sidelined for viral quotes and headline moments. Obama sat comfortably at the cool kids' table while acting like he was above the mess. His fans call it grace under pressure. But what they're really praising is his talent for smiling while sidestepping responsibility. There's a big difference between being diplomatic and being invisible. When the country cried out for leadership, we got lyricism. When people needed clear direction, they got vague stories. And when America needed bold action, all it got was applause-ready catchphrases. Megyn Kelly drives it home. This legacy isn't just hollow, it's gift-wrapped in glitter and sold as gourmet failure. Here was a man preaching transparency while quietly building the most invasive surveillance machinery this side of Silicon Valley. The Constitution. More like a decorative backdrop for speeches, not a guide for governance. And yet, somehow, the myth still lingers. People still treat the brand like it's untouchable, even though the truth is hiding in plain sight. He didn't lead on the battlefield of ideas, he narrated from a safe distance. And now, he floats above the wreckage like a political ghostwriter, acting like he didn't help pen the mess we're in. But Kelly doesn't end her roast with a punchline. She ends it with a cold reflection, a reminder that when style overshadows substance, the cost is real. And that cost wasn't paid by elites or celebrities. It was paid by everyday Americans, still stuck cleaning up the aftermath. Sure, the myth might still sparkle in coffee table books and campaign highlight reels. But the truth? It's louder now than ever. And this story, it's nowhere near over.